Hey guys, it's Hedgehog, and welcome back to another challenge video. Sonic the Hedgehog is a game. But you know what? I feel like Sonic should take down Eggman without getting hit. Is it possible to beat Sonic the Hedgehog without collecting any rings? The rules are simple. I have to beat the game without ever collecting any rings. If I collect a ring, I have to restart the act. I am allowed to use level select, and I am allowed to choose any character I want for any act, but I won't be using debug mode. Any sort of glitches or exploits are allowed. And with that, let's hop into it. Green Hill Zone Act 1 is our first level, and it should be pretty good thing we're using Tails. So, hey, it's editing jumpy. So, I actually found out that it is possible to make it over that rock without collecting rings as Sonic, but I didn't know that at the time, so shh. Now, actually, Green Hill Zone Act 1 is fairly easy. I had to do a pretty difficult jump right here that I actually managed to get first try, and that's Act 1 done. Act 2 and 3, however, are more difficult. I almost touched a ring several times. But that aside, Act 2 is done. For Act 3, I had to take the top route here since, well, luck. But after that, it's a quick fight with Eggman, and we're done with Green Hill Zone. Next up is Marble Zone. Right here in this part was pretty tricky since, yeah, I had to do a little precise flying. I accidentally died at the end twice, so there's that. But Act 1 is pretty easy. Next up is Act 2, and are you kidding me? So yeah, there's no way to get past that without collecting one of those rings. I tried to see if there was any way to skip the act, and while there is, there's one in the original version of Sonic 1, not the one I'm playing. And I had one last option left, and that was to check with the Classic Sonic Speedrun Discord to see if I can find anything. And I got responded by a guy named Tim Archick, who shared a link to a video where he managed to beat this act without collecting any rings. So I'm about to explain it while showing you a video of him doing it. First off, you need to play as Knuckles and turn the shields from Sonic 3 on. So you do a glide there, but then spin dash and then glide into the wall. And then you just try to climb your way out of the wall. I don't know, this game is kind of broken. So then you go up here and grab this fire shield. You need it for something very important, I guess. And then for this infamous lava part, you need to glide into the wall, and then for some reason the lava pushes you without dying, I guess. And then you spin dash here and get a perfect glide, and basically you just get past that without collecting any rings. And in my case, that saves a total of what? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rings. Thank you, Tim Archick, for letting me know about this, and I recommend checking out his channel. He's trying to beat Sonic 1 2013 with the minimum number of jumps. Anyways, plug-in time over, let's get back to the challenge. Next up is Act 3, and this one isn't as bad as what we just went through. I chose to take the secret top half instead of the regular bottom half, and that was a good idea. And the act is pretty easy, and after a quick fight with Eggman, we're finally done Marble Zone. Oh god, I hope I don't have to go through that pain again. Spring Yard Zone is next, and, well, just look. I mean, the game literally says cope, like they know we're doing this challenge. How have we hit another roadblock already? So here are the 3 reasons why Spring Yard Zone Act 1 in this challenge sucks. 1, of course, our favorite spring. I did manage to get past it as Knuckles, but then that leads me to problem number 2. That being this big line of rings. Ugh. Luckily, our best friend Tails is here, and I did manage to do the same thing as Tails. And by flying right here, I barely managed to avoid all of these rings. This then leads me to the last problem, which is how many obstacles and things that can kill you in this level are. I mean, look, does this slow moving in a Sonic game feel right to you? And then there's this, which I hate, which looks impossible. There is one thing that I think I can do, and that's to fly all the way up to this platform all the way at the top. And after that, I pulled off the God Run. Next up is Act 2, and alright, let's examine this. We got a tiny wall, which means there's no way for us to fly. We got a ring here, which, even if we could do the thing that we did in Act 1 to avoid the spring, we can't because the ring's hitbox is right as the wall is. And we also got a bumper, so if we try to spin dash and jump over the ring, the bumper will stop us. So me and Tim Arkick came up with a game plan. Okay, so pretend this is Knuckles. So Tim Arkick wants us to precisely glide right here. You know, just precisely glide. And then somehow we would hit the bumper, which has caused us to, you know, avoid these rings. Hey, it's Ed and Jumpy. So, while I was doing the final touches on this video, I accidentally deleted the footage of Springyard Zone Act 2, 3, and Labyrinth Zone Act 1. There's nothing really much that was lost. Basically, all three of those levels are possible ringless. I also lost the beginning part of Labyrinth Zone Act 2, but basically there's just one part that Tim Arkick helps out. And after that, the rest of the level is pretty easy. Huh, the one act in the game that I was told was impossible ringless is possible! Ha! And Act 3 was nothing to write home about. And after a quote-unquote boss fight with Eggman, we're done Labyrinth Zone. Huh, wonder how the worst zone in this game was easier in this challenge than the one right before it. Next up, Starlight Zone. And Act 1 was basically nothing to write home about. And same for Act 2. Okay, cut that out. Okay, actually being Act 2 is easy. And now I decided to do a little challenge with a little YouTuber who can finish something first. Me beating Starlight Zone Act 2 and 3 ringless, or him getting the final City Escape A rank.
Under 3 minutes. Please. Also, I won. I did it.
Losing a silly bet aside, we then come across our next obstacle. A loop. Luckily, there's another path that we could take. And then it's just a quick and simple boss fight against Eggman. And I got an achievement? Okay. And we're done with Starlight Zone. And with that, we have just one more zone left in the entire game to beat. And we beat the game ringless. And that is Scrap Brain Zone. Act 1 is fairly simple. Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Maybe we can find another route. Alright, let me look up a map of the act and see if we can find another path. Wait, all of these paths have unavoidable rings. Well, that's okay. Me, Tim Arkick, can find out a glitch to skip all these. No? Oh. So, just because of Scrap Brain Zone Act 1, the Sonic 1 2013 Maidenless Run is impossible. We are literally at the very last zone of the game, and the game throws this at us? Well, just because we can't beat the game ringless doesn't mean that we can't finish this challenge. So, how many rings does it take to beat Sonic 1 2013? Well, let's find out. So Tim Arkick managed to find a glitch where you can just clip into this pipe as Knuckles, which then can lead you to another path. And then taking a specific route through the act. So, in order to beat Scrap Brain Zone Act 1, we need a minimum of 5 rings. Next up was Act 2, and there's really nothing to talk about. Just a bit of precise flying here and there, and we're done. After that, we fall into the last act of the game, Scrap Brain Zone Act 3. What? How am I supposed to avoid all these rings? I'm just kidding, there's an alternative route. And with that, we have one last zone, Final Zone. Yes, I had to do the final boss fight, and you just sat right through it. But really, there's no way to talk about Final Zone because there's no rings in it. It's just reserved for the final boss fight. With Eggman defeated for the first time and Tails finally getting the spotlight, the Sonic 1 Minimum Maiden's run is finished with a total of 5 rings. And what's really sad is that Tim Arkic said that we are literally 6 pixels away from having a chance to beat Scrap Brain Zone Act 1 ringless. Currently, he's trying to see if we can beat it ringless, but right now, we just have to sell with 5 rings. If he does beat it ringless, then I will note it in the comments. And fun fact, this is actually the very first time I beat in Sonic 1. Yeah, and it was for a challenge video. Now, do I recommend actually doing this challenge? Well, if you're really good at Sonic 1, then maybe. But currently, I just use LOL Select, so there is no, like, full game ringless run. And what's even weirder is that the original version of Sonic 1 could technically be possible ringless, but no human could actually do it. Maybe a task would work? I don't know. But anyways, I just really hope that this video does well, because I took a really long time making it. Also, shout out to Tim Arkic for helping out with this challenge.